Are there any assets that can be protected in divorce settlements? Attorney Michael Golub says, firstly, we need to determine what assets are there. It doesn't matter how the assets are titled. It doesn't matter whether they're in one name or both names. Then we need to look at when these assets came into being to determine whether the client is able to claim any kind of special interest in the asset. In other words, if I have a client who owns a house, and they bought that house prior to the marriage, and they haven't put it in both names, then we can claim a special equity there. We can claim that as being non-marital. We can do the same thing with bank accounts that were owned prior to the marriage. We can also do that with things that are inherited during the marriage. I need to make sure that people know that if they have these assets and they're going to get married, they need to keep these things separate and not move them in and out of different accounts and commingle them. The other issue is if we have a situation where we have another party that is likely to conceal or dispose of an asset. If there's an asset or money that's sitting in a bank account and it's in one party's name, a lot of the time there may be a tendency for that person to take that asset and sell it on the eve of the divorce. Once that person sells the item, sometimes it's difficult to recover that money once they have gotten rid of it. The important thing is to identify what's there and then make sure these things are as secure as possible. Another thing that happens a lot of the time is that you'll have people with money in a joint account, and then one of them will find out that there's a divorce coming, and they'll just pull all the money out of there and put it into a separate account. Once the other person takes it and goes and spends it, it's often difficult to get that back. If you take it and put it into your account, then the worst case scenario for you is that you may have to give some of it back. It's better to try and get as much control over the assets as possible before you file. One of the other issues is debt. One thing you can make sure of is that if there are any joint credit cards, and if you fear the other person is going to take this credit card and run up the joint debt upon finding out there's a divorce, you probably want to go in and try to close those accounts before something gets filed. For a free phone consultation, contact attorney Michael Golub in Tavares, Florida at 352-533-4647 or visit him on the web at www.golublaw.office.com.